The box said, leave it in for 10 to 15 minutes. I was in my early 20s, slathering relaxer on my hair in the bathroom of my small DC apartment, willing it to be as straight as possible and thinking, why not leave it in for 20? My beauty philosophy was like my cooking philosophy. A little less here, a little extra there, except, as it turns out, altering the texture of your hair with a chemical relaxer is not cooking, it's science. And in science, if you don't follow procedure to a T, it turns out, things can and will go wrong. It was just a few days later that I was standing in front of that same bathroom mirror looking at a head of rough, limp, overprocessed hair. Each time I ran my comb through it, several strands would break and fall to the cold tile floor. Now I know what you're thinking. I know where the story goes. She cuts it all off, starts anew, and now she's rocking that dope set of curls. I had to cut it, right? I didn't. For weeks, I continued to wash and straighten that head of damaged hair. Each morning as I got ready for work, I would watch as more and more strands fell to the ground as I combed, and I did nothing. I did nothing because I didn't know what else there was to do. Even in the face of irreversible damage, I could not picture a me without straight hair. I was already curvier than most. My complexion, dark. The last foothold I had in the realm of what I considered to be beautiful was that head of hair, and without it, who was I going to be? Here I was in my early 20s having something of an identity crisis. For most of my life, I had adhered to certain standards of beauty that had been ingrained into me by the media, my experiences, and those around me. That if my hair was longer, straighter, my skin lighter, my body a different shape, that I would be more worthy, more loved, that I would be beautiful. Even if you've never clung desperately to straight hair the way I did, there are certain beauty standards that many of us will never meet, yet feel compelled to aspire to. What I want you to remember is this: better beauty is diverse and inclusive beauty. Today, I'm going to explain how beauty is failing all of us, from our beauty standards to our retail ecosystem, using my own tumultuous hair journey. So eventually, my hair hit the point where I had to do something. It's how I ended up in the salon just a few weeks later, listening to my stylist suggest that I go forth with a big chop and wear my natural hair. TWAs, or teeny weeny afros, were in. But an afro, I couldn't do it. That couldn't have been any farther from what I had learned to be beautiful as a child. You see, in our society, Eurocentric features are the gold standard in beauty. We value thinner, longer hair, lighter skin, and a certain body type over all others. While beauty standards cause all of us harm, they disproportionately work against Black and brown women. My hair, as it grows out of my head, those kinky, coily curls my stylist loves so much, or my richly hued skin, have not only been implicitly rejected, but explicitly devalued. During slavery, the cutting of the hair of slaves was routine, and slave masters continually expressed disgust at the sight of Black hair. In the 19th century, Black hair was often not even called hair, rather it was labeled and ridiculed as wool. This was the beginning of a binary system of good hair and bad hair. Good hair was manageable and neat. It was white hair. Bad hair was nappy and uncontrollable. It was Black hair. That ideal has permeated our society and influences what we consider to be appropriate and acceptable across every sphere of our lives. That's no better proven than in a Duke University study published just last year, where two groups evaluated the same Black female candidate. The first group saw that candidate with straight hair, and the second group with curly hair. That first group rated that candidate as more professional and more strongly recommended for an interview. Can you imagine losing out on a promotion because you chose to embrace your authentic self? It's not just a loss for Black women like me, it's a loss for the organizations that we're a part of. Our beauty standards, they're unhealthy, restrictive, even racist. They don't serve you or me for that matter. Remember this: better beauty is diverse and inclusive beauty. So eventually, I made the decision to slowly let my natural hair grow out and cut off the relaxed hair. The hardest part of my journey I thought was over, except I had just encountered the real struggle: shopping for beauty products. I would walk into the local Sephora eager to find something that would cater to my newly emerging curls. As I moved past walls of homogeneous advertisements dotted with one or two models of color, I would feel that hot sting of non-belonging creep up into my chest. That was only reinforced as I shopped. I'd scan products aisle by aisle, trying not to succumb to the frustration that comes with limited options, all while being hyper-aware of the associates who would follow me around. Close enough to make sure I didn't steal, but far enough to make sure they didn't have to answer my questions. You can look at retail and see that beauty is failing us. In a study commissioned by Sephora just last year, over 74% of shoppers feel that beauty marketing fails to show a diverse range of skin tones, hair textures, and body types. And over half of Black shoppers have experienced bias or unfair treatment on the basis of race or skin color. This is a fact that is contradictory to the impact that Black and brown women have on the beauty market as a whole. Black people, for instance, make up just 15% of the population, yet we make up nearly 22% of the US beauty market. And Black and brown women, on average, buy beauty products more frequently and in greater quantities than any other demographic. You'd expect, with such an outsized contribution, that beauty retailers would be clamoring to carry the brands that serve us, many of which are created by Black and brown founders, and yet today, only 3% of Sephora's brands are Black-owned. So why does beauty retail matter so much? The beauty industry gains its power by telling our society what we deem to be attractive and valuable and what is not. Psychological manipulation is the foundation upon which beauty is built. What you see when you go into Target to replace that shampoo, or run into Sephora to get a new foundation, it matters. And if you're like me and you struggle to find the products that meet your needs or aren't represented in the ads you see, you begin to believe that you're not just invisible, but that you're physically undesirable. In my little studio apartment, I had felt lost as to who I was. But let me tell you about the day I met myself. I was 25, back in that same seat in my stylist's salon. Shrouded behind a thick mask of self-doubt, she had been impossible to find. But that day, as my stylist placed that last curl on a head of now fully natural hair, I caught a glimpse of a woman I hadn't known before. She was bold. She was proud. But most importantly, she had tapped an endless well of self-love and self-confidence that came from pushing aside a broken beauty system and finally feeling comfortable in her own skin. Now, let me be clear. This isn't a story about finding freedom by moving from relaxed to natural hair. This is a story about making room for all of who we are by stepping outside of a box that none of us should have to live by. And that is the story we all deserve to have. It's the reason why I'm building Beautyocracy, a platform that elevates diverse and inclusive beauty and makes it easier for women of color to shop and discover skincare in an environment that reflects their worth. Our community is built on the idea that better beauty is about giving back the power of choice in the retail environment, of creating space for those around us to achieve more without being held back by bias, and expanding the narrative so that we can all live our own complex stories. What I want you to remember is this: better beauty is diverse and inclusive beauty. There are a treasure trove of beauty brands online created by Black and brown founders with products that work for all of us. Go online, search Black-owned beauty brands, discover something new, and incorporate it into your routine. Diversify the brands and the influencers that you follow on social media, and demand that retailers like Sephora and Ulta, who have committed to diversifying their shelves and making the retail environment more inclusive, actually follow through. My difficult hair journey to self-love and acceptance, it isn't unique. But if we work together, it could be. As consumers, we have the power to step outside of the box that we've been given and change beauty for the better.